While I understand the Big Ten Conference's decision to postpone the football season because of health and safety considerations, the communication of information from the Big Ten following the decision has been disappointing and often unclear. That's what Day said in a prepared statement. However, we will still have an opportunity to give our young men what they have worked so hard for, a chance to safely compete for a national championship this fall. So, Tim, I want to ask you, what do you make of Day's comments about his perceived lack of clarity that he's saying that he's gotten from the Big Ten?
Well, I agree with him. It is a lack of clarity, and in my opinion, a little bit of a lack of wisdom. How do you go from canceling everything to now we're going to postpone it? Why didn't you just sit down, get all the groups together at the beginning of this thing, and figure out a wise way with a lot of wise, discerning people and a lot of experts? Because, you know, one thing in talking to a lot of conferences is some people talk to one expert, other conferences talk to a different expert. Those experts don't agree, so you're going to take one side versus the other, and that's where I think college football has missed the mark in this situation. They need to come together as a whole, not just conference versus conference. They need to get a panel of experts to give wise, credible, not necessarily always agreeing, but wisdom where they can really sit down and do what's best for the players. And I agree with Coach Day. How could you trust something that's going back and forth? And you know, Coach Day is someone that I played for, someone that I know very well, and he truly believes the best thing for his players is for them to be in the building, for them to be playing football, because he believes that they are better, their health is better, their minds are better, their safety is better when they're in the building. And that's something that I've talked to people inside that building that truly believe that that is the case, and that's one reason I think we need to be playing college football is I think the young men are in better hands with all these doctors and these experts on campus than they are, you know, in their homes, in their neighborhoods, going around, going to parties. And so I think, you know, he's got a case with that.
Well, Tim Tebow, I wanted to reach out to you because I know you care about these issues, and I know any words that come out of your mouth, you're trying in your way look out for the best interest of the collegiate athlete. I definitely respect where you're coming from. But I must ask, are you of that opinion that they should be playing and that they obviously should mingle together, meaning be together because it's a more isolated and protective environment than if you're out there with the student body? Is that your position about SEC, about the Big Five, or all of Division I college football?
I think all that can do it right, that can do it safely, that can do it with putting the players first, truly putting their health first. I've talked to a lot of different schools and a lot of different universities, and the most positive tests for COVID have come from when they've been home, when they've been with family, when they've been away from the team. But when they've come back and they've been isolated, they've been going through the regimens, it's gone down drastically. And I think when you have all these experts coming together to care for them, I really do believe that's the best place for these kids. And if you can do it safely and play ball, I think you let a lot of dreams come true and you take care of the kids. And I think that would be a win-win situation.
I think you're making a powerful argument for the resumption of play in that really what we're saying is, remember, not that long ago, because the perception's already shifted, there weren't that many tests available. You couldn't get your hands on them. Now they're much more plentiful. They're more accessible. And so if you have a lot of tests and you have an isolated population, you can actually stay safer than if you're just out in Gen Pop, so to speak. I think that's a powerful argument. I do think it's a bit undermined, though, if there are no students on campus at all. Everybody's doing remote learning except for the football players. I think that's a bit undermined. Also, the Big Ten originally, several weeks ago, there are 10 players that they know of with myocarditis, which is an inflammation, a very rare heart condition, inflammation in young people of the heart muscle. And then it turns out a number came out like 35%. And then that was revised downward to like 15. Oh, it's only 15%. Which is an enormous percentage to have a rare heart condition at that age. But beyond just that, the health dangers to those actually playing, Tim, there's also the spreading of the disease, right? So the real reason we social distance and do all these things is not so much for our own safety as it is to protect the most vulnerable among us, the elderly, those with pre-existing conditions, and the like. And given those facts, and that we're heading into the winter months, or the autumn and winter months, where they're expecting flu season to make this all much more difficult. Given all of that, if students aren't on campus by then, should they be playing football at that time?
Well, I think if students are doing remote learning, then so could the players, but they can be doing, and not going to class, they can be doing that from their apartments, from their dormitories. But I do want to touch on something, Max, that you said with the medical experts is, you know, there has been some doctors coming out saying one thing, but then there's others saying another thing. And so that's where I think it takes a panel, it takes a group of people coming together, because the Big Ten's talking to some people, the SEC's talking to other people. They're not saying the same thing. So while it's credible to say it's a medical expert, is I think we have to have a group of them, because not all medical experts see the same. They don't all look at one stat or one survey and see the same thing. And I can't touch on that because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical expert. But I do want to listen to as many of them as I can to do what's right for the players. And so that's where I think, instead of having one that a conference is listening to, that there's a panel, a group of them that are coming together, just like we do for the college football playoff. Well, why aren't we doing that for the kids' best health? That's how I would approach that.
Tim, I would say, I want to just say something about that. There are,
go ahead, Max.
Yeah, Stephen, let me just chime in real quick. There are always going to be disagreements and competing theories about a disease we don't know a lot about, and that is true. It would be good to get people together to develop a consensus. As far as I am aware, the consensus, though, there are some people on the fringes who push against the consensus now. It's not impossible that some of what they're saying are right, but there is a general consensus in terms of how much more deadly it is than the flu.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.